there's a big dichotomy between there is a big culture of hockey fans that aren't very supportive of LGBTQ causes. Let's put it at that.
Yeah.
But I also find that out of like the four major sports, baseball, hockey, football, basketball, hockey is interestingly shown a lot of like strong support. My name is Peter Cooper. I'm a 21-year-old about to be a senior at Appalachian State University, electronic media and broadcasting student, and I actually work at a radio station for my university, and I'm a
Cool.
very big hockey fan, which I know is kind of why we're here. My pronouns are he, him. I identify as gay. Um, Not much more to say. I'm really into media, and especially why we're here today, hockey, that sort of thing.
Amazing. How did you get into hockey?
It's not actually I hate telling this story because it makes me sound really superficial because it has to go, it kind of goes in tandem with my whole like journey with my sexuality, because I've been out of the closet for like years and years and years and years. I was like 13 out of the
Oh,
closet, but
wow, cool.
yeah, but I was struggling a lot with my identity, and I went through this really rough patch, like from like 16 to 17 to like 18, where I don't really look fondly at it, but I was very judgmental of other gay people despite being out, and I was super into this like basically a toxically masculine like ideal of myself, and I was like, I need to get into sports. I'm gonna choose hockey because hockey's really cool. And my team of choice was the Sharks because they have a really cool logo.
Hmm.
But I was always like passively into hockey until I started really breaking out of that, and like that ideal. And I realized I actually do like have a care for hockey. Like I find it really interesting, especially watching it with my friends. I have one of my neighbors is a really big Canes fan, and I've quickly become a Canes fan. But I actually kind of credit we've I know people in this sort of circle already have talked to him, but Curtis Gabriel, I totally credit him for being the person who like really turned that passive interest into something I like super care about, because it felt kind of cool to have someone in major leagues, the NHL, not, speak on our issues, even if
Yeah,
he's not necessarily part of the communities. Same thing.
no, absolutely. What do you love about hockey?
I love the culture. I love the people. That is why I continue to support hockey. I really wish now I could get to a game, but coronavirus,
Mm.
that's only just now easing back. And where I'm from, Charlotte, the Charlotte Checkers didn't even play. I'm right now I'm
Mhm.
in Boone, but my hometown's Charlotte, and they didn't even play because of coronavirus. So I'm hoping to enjoy a game in person soon enough instead of just
Yeah,
like watching with my two friends.
yeah, next season for sure, right?
Yes.
Very cool. How could hockey be better for you as an individual?
Um, I really appreciate where, especially the NHL, but just in general, hockey culture has been a lot more supportive than I'd say other major sports in speaking out for LGBT issues. But I'd kind of, um, it's kind of selfish, but I'd like someday in like the next 10 years to have someone in the major leagues, especially. We've had plenty of minor leagues players come out eventually, and in other sports, but I kind of would love to see someone like me, a gay person, play on the ice open and proudly. That's just like a selfish dream of mine.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, feeling seen matters, right? So that makes a lot of sense. What keeps you in the sport?
Well, as a fan, I kind of just like the competition of it. Like, maybe it's a little selfish to just like watch people duke it out, but there's a healthy amount of hostility that's kind of enjoyable to watch.
Fair. I mean, yeah, it's definitely an interesting part of the culture, right?
Yeah.
It's very unique. What gives you hope for queer people in the sport?
I've always thought it really interesting how there's a big like dichotomy between there is a big culture of hockey fans that aren't very supportive of LGBTQ causes. Let's put it at that.
Yeah.
But I also find that out of like the four major sports, baseball, hockey, football, basketball, hockey is interestingly shown a lot of like strong support. I think actually it probably comes from the fact that like there's a lot of Canadian support, and Canadians, y'all are just way more ahead of us when it comes to progressive ideology. So
In some ways,
yeah.
not so much. I don't know if I fully. I gotta ask because I don't know if I fully agree. But I mean, I'm interested in your insights on it. What makes you feel as if hockey has been more inclusive?
Um, maybe inclusive is not the right word because
Well, or supportive?
yeah. I was gonna be like, well, obviously we have our Pride games. I think that's really cool. I also really liked how many of the Pride games. I'm not sure if it was because of coronavirus kind of messing with the season, but a lot of the Pride games, like there's a really big criticism towards not just sports, but just in general that organizations tend to only show their support during June, Pride Month, which obviously it is now, but that all happened before June, which was really cool. I'm really into the You Can Play organization, which I know is not just limited to hockey, but tends to favor more towards hockey because I know its organizers come from a hockey background, Brian and Patrick Burke. Uh, I kind of just see a lot more efforts made there than in, say, football fans. I know baseball is kind of coming around. The San Francisco Giants just had a big Pride game. It was like one of their biggest crowds, apparently.
Yeah, the 49ers do a lot too, and I think there's other sports do. They, in my mind, they all kind of do the same stuff. You know
I
what I mean?
guess maybe hockey's the only sport that I really have got a connection to, so
fair,
I'm coming
fair,
from a blind perspective.
fair enough, and that's fair, and it's cool that you like it and you appreciate the efforts they're making for you. Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Um, representation matters. Like, I think representation is probably the biggest hurdle that we need to overcome in, North American society. I don't want to talk
Hmm.
about like, but our culture, I feel like that's like one of the greatest hurdles we need to overcome right now.
Very cool. Well, Peter, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being a part of our sport and being yourself in it. You deserve to be celebrated.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.